Well, I know you gotta be asking yourself right about now, Buck, what are you doing laying down in your driveway by your motorcycle, your toolbox sitting behind you? This is one of my favorite spots at my age. I love laying down here, tippies inside making breakfast. I love laying down by my motorcycle a lot of times though. Cop some Z's, a couple hours. What I'm really doing here is yesterday I was out playing on my new bike, which is this R1. It's bad. Oh, it's so much fun. Anyway, got to get sidetracked on how much fun I've had. But I smelled a little odor of antifreeze. I hate that smell. I can't stand it. Well, it probably ain't going to go anywhere around the block a few times because it's basically my roller coaster. My roller coaster. Its name is Maggy. I named it after the Magnum roller coaster at Cedar Point that I used to ride with my kids. But anyway, I had her out for a little run yesterday, and I noticed a little faint odor of antifreeze. My buddy we were looking at it, and I found a little drip going on underneath there. So I'm like, tore it all apart. I love tearing things apart. I love tearing things apart. Just getting them back together again. That's always been my problem. But I discovered that. I don't know if you can see that in here, or see this in here or not. But way back in there, way back, out, through my shoulder, way back in there, behind that oil pump, oil filter. Can you see that back in there? See, is way back in behind there. You have to really look for it to see it. There's a little hose. There's a little hose buried in there, and it was leaking around that hose. So I kind of cheated. I loosened the clamps up and moved the hose down, and just kind of repositioned it and reclamped it. And so far, I handed it down to my buddy's off, showing off down there, teasing him. He's a Harley rider. A couple of Harley riders, my buddies, and one of them's dad's into tractors, so I helped him change the tire on his tractor. I mean, this is an old, I don't know, might be a 1938 something or another, a great big old full-size tractor. The tire on it weighs twice as much as this bike does. But we got that done anyway this morning when I went down there to visit with those guys. What's that? Bug juice on my fork. But anyway, back to the bike. So I got this thing all tore apart. But was before I went down there, back when I was a kid, motocross racing, back in the late 60s and the 70s and into the 80s. We always had our parts on our bikes. We discovered, especially with the early bikes, our 4-strokes, and the Yamahas and stuff too. But they like to. This was before Loctite was invented, so we would safety wire all of our nuts and bolts and everything else onto our bikes to keep them from falling off, going around the track and causing a bad accident or cause you to lose a race, which that ain't no fun. So this is like a bad habit of mine, but it's kind of a good habit, a good thing. Well, what happened was I lost that. What happened was I had to take all this plastic off this thing. See? All the shrouding and everything. I had to take all that off in order to get it there. And this thing is pretty cool. It really is. And in the process of doing that, I wanted to test ride it. I still want to test ride it. So what I did was all of these little, Yamaha's got this really cool way of keeping this belly shroud and all that stuff on, and that involves these pins that go into these holes. Well, I didn't want to lose these clips, so I went ahead and tie wrapped them. Doesn't that look cool? Don't that look cool? I got one there, and I've already ridden it, so I hope I didn't lose anything because I didn't tie wrap something. But that's what I'm doing here. What a cool bike, huh? These things are amazing. Look at all the cool. Look at all the cool stuff that a guy could wreck if he didn't know what he was doing. Like, I wonder what this is. Well, here's a question for all you people out there. This is the question of the day. Okay, what is this? Now, don't say clutch, because this is the clutch, okay? This cover has got a wire coming out of it, all right? It has a wire, electrical wire coming out of it, that goes inside of this case cover, and it has a preview hole at the end of what looks like at the end of the crankshaft. So I told my buddy, asked me that. He's like, "You have any idea what that is?" And he said, "I think it's a clutch." And I'm like, "No, it's not a clutch." I've been around bikes long enough to know that ain't the clutch. No one ever invented a clutch in that shape that I know of. Maybe, but I doubt it. But this, I think it's some kind of a ignition trigger coil. Maybe that hole is to set some timing or something like that. So anyway, any of you know-it-alls have an answer to that, please let me know. Okay? And I'll be sure and in my next video or something, I'll make sure and mention you that I've got some smart guys out there.